podcast. Looking for fish number 30 today. And whoa, I got a big one. I got another big one. What kind of garbage is this? No one wants to. And who's calling me? I'm fishing right now. Fantasy football. It's not fantasy football season. It's fishing season is what it is. Oh my gosh. It is fantasy football season, and I am not prepared. What am I going to do? I got to call all my friends. Field, are you ready for the start of fantasy football season?
Field data initializing. Projections processed. Rankings in place. Key matchups located. Draft strategy prepared. Hot takes determined. Field data complete.
I'm ready. Wow, AI Field is super locked in already. All right, I'll call Mike. Mike will know what to do.
Daniel Dopp. More like Daniel, stop calling me.
Hello? On vacation for the first week of the year. Of course Mike's on vacation. I'll call Liz. Liz always knows what to do. Liz, are you ready for the start of the football season?
Hey, Daniel. Yes, I have been recording Facts versus Feelings for weeks. I am so ready. Are you?
Huh. I am on Facts versus Feelings every week. I gotta get ready for the start of the season, though. It's go time. Greatest running back of all time. Making sure we're ready for the start of the season. Welcome into Fantasy Focus Football. Welcome into Fantasy Focus Football. Welcome into Fantasy Focus Football. Field fiddles with fiddlesticks. Field fiddles with fiddlesticks. Rubby baby bunker. Rubber. Field fiddles with fiddlesticks. That one works. You can do this, Daniel. You are ready for the start of this season. You are prepared. You are good to go. You are the third prettiest person on Fantasy Focus Football after Liz and Field Yates. We can do this. It's the start of the season. Let's go play some fantasy.
Fantasy, you're in the 06010. Fantasy Focus.
What's good, friends? Welcome into Fantasy Focus Football. Excited to be back. A little bit of cold open action there.
That was
fun,
incredible.
guys. Thank you for
Starting
leaning
the
in.
season with an absolute banger.
It was a good
Well
time.
done,
We
guys.
always knew that Field was memeable, though.
Yes, AI Field 100%.
Oh, my goodness.
Already locked in, Liz. You and I have been doing Facts versus Feelings for a minute. That is true, actually. So we're ready to kick off Fantasy Focus here, though. Super pumped. I'm so happy to see your guys' faces. It has been a minute since I've seen you guys. Listen, we got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to dive into a bunch of really fun football today, the biggest storylines of the offseason. We're going to give you a bunch of logistics. But first, if you guys will just indulge me, I haven't seen you two beautiful people in a minute.
Yeah.
Field, what happened during your offseason? Give me 2 or 3 things that happened in your life.
Let's see. You know what? We went to a Hartford Yard Goats game.
Stop it. You're burying the lead.
Did they win?
They did, yeah.
Okay,
Yes, of
Smoked
course.
them, obviously. I watched several seasons of Love Island.
Okay.
Besides that, no. I had a kid again, guys. I just cannot stop having children.
Congratulations.
Aw.
3 girls. So yes, a little over a month ago, a month and a day ago, I became a father of my 3rd daughter, Tatum, who has been absolutely awesome.
Yes.
It's been the wildest month of our life, for sure.
Love that.
The jump from 2 to 3 is real. If there are parents out there that have 3 or more children, shout out to you. It is an absolutely insane adjustment. We're having a great time. It's great to be back here on Fantasy Focus. We've had a very, very fulfilling month. She's adorable. I don't know
love
what
that.
And I just wanted to announce, I will be working until I'm 94.
Yes, at this
because I now
point.
have 3 daughters between weddings, wardrobes,
College.
Barbies.
Yes.
Don't get me started on college.
Yes.
I'm hoping for either a scholarship or I don't know. There's got to be some sort of other solution.
So, we knew, obviously, that Field and Chapin had welcomed Tatum. And one of my favorite pictures that you sent was you holding the car seat, the car seat that locks in. Casually, he's got this, a little bit of a tricep
See it.
showing,
Yeah,
too,
just
in
a
the
little
back.
bit.
Yeah, not letting yourself go. I mean, obviously, because you've got your 3rd kid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a choice. I actually just stay in shape by carrying children at all times.
That's fair.
Because the irony is that my 4.5-year-old, she now is a runner. We go on runs together. So
Nice.
she's that capable,
Wow.
mobility-wise. But she always can you carry me, Dad? I'm like, why? She's like, because you carried the baby.
Oh.
So we're dealing with
Dang
all
it.
that stuff here, but it's been an
Yeah.
awesome month. I'm so happy to be back, though, guys. And we do go every day now.
Yes.
Until basically the end of time.
Until the end of time. Yeah, we
and
got a
Liz
lot
is
with that.
kind enough. Nice of Liz to actually show up for work.
Yeah.
Shows Mike Clay. Mike Clay is currently, do we
He's
think
on-
it's on a beach?
I
on
think
an
he's on a
island.
beach. Yeah,
Yeah.
on an island, on a beach. Liz, you did your island vacation appropriately earlier in the
did
off
it in
season,
July,
so we
yes.
appreciate that you're here. But tell me about your off season. What have you done?
It's been awesome. Well, I went to Vegas for the Scott Fish Bowl Live, which
Yes,
was an incredible
always fun.
experience.
Love
And
it.
then the family and I flew to Seattle to take in a World Cup game. My
Sweet.
son's birthday present. He's very into soccer. He plays
amazing.
on his school's team.
Teenage
So we did that. He turned 13.
That's
So
wild.
it was a very. Oh, there we go.
Look at
That's
that.
something. Yes, me and my glasses and no makeup on. Thank you very much, social team. Eating clams and wine. Also, not showing me the picture of us in Hawaii where I look fantastic and tan. Took the kids on a snorkel adventure. We did a zip. There we go. A zip lining adventure. My little one, my 9-year-old, did 9 zip lines, 2 of
Come
which
on.
were half a mile long. She was the first one to jump. I was so proud. And then we paddled around a waterfall, but it was mostly the big one and the little one and me in the middle on the paddleboard. Also working my triceps so that we didn't fall out and fall down the waterfall. But yes, it was an awesome, eventful.
I love that.
The perks of living in LA. Hawaii is not like for us right now. Hawaii is like the Odyssey to get out.
That's right.
And my dad's from Hawaii. I would love to go back there with my family. And it's just like,
Yeah.
good luck getting my kids
It
on
takes
It's
less
a
time
trip.
for me to fly to Hawaii.
Ah,
than it does
that's
for me to
fair.
fly to Connecticut. I'm just saying.
So besides fishing, Daniel,
Yes.
what did you do this offseason?
So first off, for what it's worth, I did take up fishing, and I want to give a big shout out to my buddy Scott at Yakety Yak Kayaks in Seaside Park, New Jersey, as well as my buddy Ray, who works at Grumpy's Tackle. Ray, lifelong, die-hard Cowboys fan. The man bleeds that blue star. His 2 kids are actually named Troy and Emmett.
Come on.
After that, yeah. So huge diehard Cowboys fan, but big shout out to those 2 guys that hooked me up because I have been fishing a lot. I just did a whole. You guys know I don't always do social media super well.
yeah.
I did a big disconnect, so I was just like, I want to go somewhere where I'm not doing
you
stuff.
got off
So,
the
like,
grid?
I got off the grid a little
You
bit.
stopped answering texts?
Oh, most of the time.
Really new vibe.
Really new thing
Okay.
for me. I also went on tour, which most of you guys know because I talked about it incessantly, but I went out with my buddies in the band Emery, did a little over 4,000 miles. It was a ton of fun from Bloomington, Indiana to Jackson, Mississippi, all the way up to Quebec, all the way on the East Coast, did a festival up there and back down. So it was a blast, just a really great time. And now we're here. And now we're ready. We're back 5 days a week. Field, like you said, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, 7 a.m. Liz Loza time, in case you live over in the West Coast.
Yep.
You can find us a million different places, by the way. You ready for this? Live on the NFL on ESPN YouTube page. You can find us on the ESPN Fantasy app live. You can find us live on the ESPN app. We're also live on Facebook. You can find us everywhere that you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, just you name it, we are there. And you can catch us on ESPN2 every Wednesday this offseason, which is going to be really great, being able to have those shows on E2. And then we'll get into a regular season cadence on E2 as well. So a lot of places to be able to catch us as you are coming back, getting ready for fantasy football season. And how about a big shout out to our buddy Eric Moody as well, who is in the chat. We love it if you guys could hang out in our YouTube chat, ask a ton of questions. And with all the things going on, guys, it's important that we let you know live on August 20th in New York City, we are doing a live show.
Let's go.
It's going to be a ton of fun. Me, Liz, Field, and Mike Clay are going to be there. It is going to be a blast. Go to fantasyfocuslive.com for all of the details that you need. And honestly, last thing, we have a mock draft tomorrow. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
So a little bit of prep for that. Mock drafts are always a blast because I love being able to just hear your guys' thought process while you're making your decisions. But I think that's all the logistics.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of the stuff out of the way. We're going to continue to have fun. We'll take some questions a little later on in the show, but let's dive into the 10 biggest storylines of the offseason. Field, Yates. It's kind of tough to narrow it down just to 10 different things that
We did our
happened,
best,
though.
though. We did our best, and we're going to start with the one that took a while to actually get done. But A.J.
Waiting.
Brown is officially a Patriot. And I want to apologize to those that are watching the show right now. If you see me staring at my phone right here throughout the show, there's a reason why. Is that we are in the same studio as last year. But
Yes.
we have new microphones. These are on sort of wheelies, and I had a cup of tea. I'm trying to, in my 3-kid world, trying to keep my caffeine intake steady, but not drink too much coffee.
Okay.
Had a cup of tea, immediately nailed it, knocked it over, complete moron move. Thankfully, we cleaned it up. It was literally a group effort, like
Yes.
6 minutes before the show. So I have no more paper notes. Those got washed out. But I do have
And
my
then 5
phone.
minutes before the show, Liz spilled her drink immediately after you did. You wouldn't throw her under the bus?
Season for all of us.
All right, I
Thank you
was
for
no.
testifying.
All right.
A.J. Brown, officially a Patriot. The deal got done after June 1st for salary cap reasons. The Eagles got nothing for this year back. Right? There's no player going back. There was no draft pick in the 2026 draft. It is a first-round pick in 2028 plus a 2027 fifth-round pick. Sort of a salary dump. Philly feels like they can get better. Let's talk about the A.J. Brown side of it, guys, though.
Yeah.
But the Patriots and their offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, has already said that A.J. Brown's closest comparison that he can kind of come up with was Gronk, who, of course, was a tight end.
Right.
A.J. Brown gives the Patriots their best receiver, I think, at least physically most talented receiver since Randy Moss.
Yes.
They haven't had a great run of receivers since then, but they've had guys like Julian Edelman who are very different body types. But A.J. Brown, one of the best deep threats in the NFL. There's a trivia here. I was sort of stunned by this number. What do you think the average length of A.J. Brown's touchdown catches is in his career?
I'm going to say 14 and a half yards.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say 18.7.
Okay, both of you not quite there. 26.5.
26.
I was wondering if it was over 20 because we know that he is consistently hitting those marks over 20 yards.
Amongst the best deep threats in the NFL, Drake May led the NFL in deep completion percentage last year. One of the best deep ball throwers, not just in the NFL now, but over the past, call it decade or so. He had 7 games last year with a 30-plus yard touchdown pass. The upgrade from Kayshon Boutte and Kyle Williams to A.J. Brown is that deep threat for the Patriots is real. They paid a big price for him. He's the most talented receiver they have on the team. Drake May is a stud. A.J. Brown checks in as wide receiver 10 for me.
I think that's about right. I think I have him ranked similarly. I love as you're pointing out, the marriage of skill sets between this receiver and this quarterback for the exact reasons you pointed out. Also, 102 targets vacated with Stephon Diggs no longer on the field. And remember, Diggs was working back from that ACL injury, so his snaps were being managed, so there should be more volume there, especially when accounting for the addition of Romeo Doubs as well. I am a little bit curious about this Kayshon Boutte hype in camp. It wasn't Kyle Williams. He hasn't been making the noise that we thought maybe it was, and there were certainly some trade rumors buzzing around Boutte, but he seems to be showing out at camp. I'm not saying, obviously, that he's going to be a draftable option, but just someone to maybe listen for a drumbeat on as we progress. But as far as A.J. Brown, wide receiver 10 for me as well.
I've got him at wide receiver 8, and I love everything that you guys just mentioned because marrying Drake May's deep ball ability with the skill set that A.J. Brown has just feels like a match made in heaven for this offense. So I think we're in a really great spot there.
How about the Eagles? Like, are you optimistic now? Like, is Devonta Smith ready for prime time? This was the Heisman Trophy winner, first-round pick.
I don't think he's not ready for primetime field, but I also don't think that he's going to vault into that, like, wide receiver 12, low-end wide receiver 1 status. He's still in that Eagles offense, right?
Yep.
They had Mekhi Lemon in the draft. We can talk about him and all the things, why they decided to bring him in. When they made that move, it was the writing on the wall. We all knew that A.J. Brown was gone as soon as they drafted Mekhi Lemon, right? Yep. But I do feel like with Devonta Smith, I've got him right in the middle, probably like wide receiver 16, and I think that's fairly like where I'm going to see him more often than not. He will be the guy in this offense. I'm not that worried, even though they added Dontavian Wicks also in the offseason, and they added Eli Stowers eventually to take over for that Dallas Goedert. They've got some pass catchers there. Yeah. But I still feel like Devonta Smith is kind of where he was, to be honest, even before A.J. Brown got traded. He was in that wide receiver 15 to 20 to 25 range week in and week out. I don't think that really changes.
Any thoughts, Liz?
Wide receiver 15 range. I'm worried about the skill set of, I don't believe that Devonta Smith has a traditional alpha skill set. I do think he'll see 120 targets, and I think he benefited, frankly, from A.J. Brown on the opposite side of the field to work as a complement. Nick Sirianni said himself that in order to replace the 100-plus targets that A.J. Brown left, he was going to have to use everyone. Regardless, I do think Smith will lead the way. I'm just not sure he's going to be this top automatic. It's not going to be a copy and paste situation. He's not going to automatically replace what A.J. Brown did. They're very different players in terms of skill sets. But again, I think probably 120 targets.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same range as you guys. So a strong wide receiver 2. And the reason why I'm not in like the top 10 range for Devonta Smith, which I think is a not unreasonable thing for someone to want to leap to, is if you look at the guys inside my top 10 rankings for wide receivers, I would say other than Rashee Rice, who I think kind of makes his way into the top 10 in part because of the circumstance. Like, I don't think Rashee Rice is some premier wide receiver talent. He just absolutely soaks up targets.
We're going to talk about him in just a minute.
Yeah, we will. Devonta Smith is like a cut below an A.J. Brown, a Drake London, Justin Jefferson, of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown. These guys that are just supernova wide receiver talent. So Devonta Smith a little bit lower. Plus, guys, like question marks about Jalen Hurts. He stunk last season as the thrower. Stunk. Now, optimism because of this new offensive system, which does seem like it's going to feature more of a rhythm and timing passing game, but not enough for me to push Devonta Smith into the top 12 of my wide receivers.
I'm with you on that. All right, let's move ahead and talk about, kind of you alluded to it, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Big news here is Ken Walker III coming over to this offense, and there's some things with KW3. Liz and I talked about this on Facts versus Feelings last week. The good news with Ken Walker III last year, 1,300 yards from scrimmage, most of his career. Played 17 games. That's the first time that's happened. We love being able to see that, but he was only running back 22, in part because Zach Charbonnet just stole all the goal line work, scored all the touchdowns in that offense. But we saw how good he was in the playoffs. We saw that Super Bowl run. And now that he's going to be the lead guy in this Kansas City offense, there's a lot of different moving parts here because you got the Mahomes returning from injury. You got the wide receivers that we've been talking about. Travis Kelce's another year older. When you look at Ken Walker III, how high is too high when you're looking at ranking this guy being what this offense could be?
I think if you put him RB8, that would be too high, but I have him as RB9.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah. RB9 for me is Ken Walker III. So there are a lot of things working in this.
True RB1, though.
Yeah, I mean, he got a big contract. He's a very talented player. It always felt like Seattle was not ready to fully embrace Kenneth Walker III because there are elements of his game that I think could drive a running backs coach or even offensive coordinator a little bit bonkers. One thing that Ken is very focused in on, and this has been one of his great strengths and perhaps a limitation, is he always wants to hit a home run, right? Like he's like a baseball player. It's like he either smashes it out of the park or strikes out. Has a 4-yard opportunity, bounces it outside, turns it into a 1-yard opportunity, right? The Chiefs are desperate for home runs right now. The Chiefs had one running back rush, one of 20 yards last year. 20 yards. Like, that's not that far in the NFL. And they had one run from a running back last year of 20-plus yards. So they had one of the most explosive backs in the NFL. And I was an Emmett Johnson fan. It's their 5th-round pick out of Nebraska. But not enough that I'm sitting there going to myself, like, wait, Kenneth Walker III got this money, and he's going to have to share carries? Like, no, he's got a clear path to – I always have to do the math now because it's a 17-game season. Like, you could easily push 250, 260 carries for Kenneth Walker III.
Yeah.
Fully capable as a pass catcher as well. I think 40 to 50 catches in range. I think he's an RB1.
I'm on the lower end of that because last year was the first time he actually managed a full 17-game slate. So it was a little bit of a durability concern there.
Okay, fair.
But I agree with you that the thing that he does the best is explosive play. I think he was the RB3 in breakaway runs and the RB6 in evaded tackles last year. And as you mentioned, the Chiefs were desperate to invigorate this otherwise listless running game. And by extension, his presence takes some pressure off of Mahomes, especially coming off of the knee injury. So there should be less scrambling. We like that. It opens up the middle of the field for Travis Kelce, probably in his last season. And also, I think as it pertains to Rashee Rice, there's some play action opportunities that he could benefit from as well, with defenders keying in on KW3 as well. So holistically, I like it for KW3, high-end RB2 for me.
Yeah. And I like it for the pass catchers because just like any other football team, if you have a better running game, it's going to make it easier for your pass catching across the board, period. And with Patrick Mahomes coming back from that ACL injury, Field, you had started to talk about Rashee Rice. I think he's an easy top 5 wide receiver when he's healthy and on the field. The problem is he's had some concerns off the field.
The dude was in jail this offseason.
Correct.
Recovering from knee surgery.
Yes. So there's definitely red flags, not just yellow flags. There's red flags. When the guy's out there, he's one of the best wide receivers in fantasy football. Do you feel like he's one of those guys that you would want to try to stay away from in drafts? Or are you like, you know what? He's still a good value to me. I like his skill set. I like what he does.
I've been drafting him as normal so far.
Okay.
On Saturday, we did the Back Together football weekend show, and Shefty was on there, and he was talking about how, like, he did not, in his response to questions about Rashee Rice's availability, make it seem like he is anticipating punishment sometime soon. We will see until the NFL has concluded its own investigation and said one way or the other, we don't know. Last offseason, we were bracing for some sort of punishment, and we eventually got that significant punishment for Rashee Rice. To be clear, he's a greater risk than other wide receivers in the top 10 for not just, I don't think he's as talented as a Drake London or Malik Neighbors, but also, like, the guy needs to put it together off the field as well.
I reached a point where you have enough off the field things where you're wondering, is the next one going to be the one that costs me, the fantasy manager, how many games?
He's got to make a choice, as an individual. If he stays healthy and stays behaved, he's got a chance to make $30+ million per year. If he doesn't, then he might be out of the league in 2 seasons. That's the choice that he has to make. I think the Chiefs side is fairly straightforward on the running back front. I'm not totally certain what to do with Jadarian Price yet, Daniel. I want to hear your thoughts on how high you guys are, or maybe not.
I got thoughts. So I would love to give you my thoughts. I'd love for Liz to go first, but I want to hear from you because you did first draft with Mel and Greeny, obviously the entire time. So when you're looking at Jadarian Price coming out of the draft, what can you tell us in case we didn't watch enough college football?
So, I mean, it's tough to tough when the other running back is Jeremiyah Love. Like,
Sure,
he was a
sure.
true backup running back for Notre Dame. He was also a kick return maven for Notre Dame. He did not handle much work. He had one game with 15 carries in his career. 15. He's
okay.
never had more than 15 carries in his career. So he had the fresh leg benefit. He had the benefit of, defenses are keying in on him much differently than were Jeremiyah Love. In college football, as we know, you're seeing great variance week in and week out in terms of competition. He's an excellent pure runner. Like, he is a fun guy to watch. He's powerful. He's strong. He is fast as all get out. The pre-draft process is really good to him. There's a little bit of a chicken versus egg situation, though, with him as a pass catcher. Mm-hmm. 6 catches last year for Jadarian Price. 6.
Bad.
6 total. That's like a game for Jeremiyah Love. Now, the question is that because Jadarian Price isn't capable of catching the football effectively, or is it because, if we're going to throw the ball to a running back, we're going to throw it to the guy who went 3rd overall in the draft?
Right.
So I have him as RB25 on Jadarian Price. But that's sort of a pass catcher plus a little bit of accounting for eventually Zach Charbonnet being in the mix and maybe Emmanuel Wilson being good enough to take a little bit of work out of the way early. Are you guys more optimistic?
I am more optimistic. I don't think he's just a passive option when compared to Jeremiyah Love. I do understand everything you're saying. And we also have to recognize that this year's draft class was pretty weak at the position in terms of overall talent. So all of that being said, Price did score on a higher percentage of his carries in 2025 than Love, behind the same offensive line. And you did mention the Zach Charbonnet situation. His timeline from his recovery timeline does make Price a little bit tricky because we're not quite sure the volume that he's going to receive. But also, he's on an offense that managed to win the Super Bowl with the 3rd highest rushing rate. Why would they change that, right? So Price is going to get his. I do like him as a low-end RB2. And he's great value where he's going in a draft, by the way, a fantasy draft, by the way, where the position dries up so quickly.
Ooh, boy, is it ever.
I'm with you. I'm with Liz, and I'm even higher on Price than Liz is. I've got him as running back 19 inside my top 20. A part of that is the idea that the guys behind him, I'm not worried about. I understand you mentioned Emmanuel Wilson, George Alani, like those guys just don't scare me from that perspective. And you look at what the Seattle running backs have done. Ken Walker III was a top 20 running back for 2 of the last 3 years with Zach Charbonnet. Wasn't last year because Charbonnet stole all of those touchdowns. Yeah. But now we're going to have half of a season without Zach Charbonnet. And I'm using half of a season as air quotes, vague. We're not sure how much time he's going to miss.
Are you pointing out the difference between return to sport versus return to
Yes, even once he comes back, he's going to have to be able to return to that performance
there's a
level.
shaking off that needs to occur.
So, yes, there is a chance that, down the stretch, I think Jadarian Price could maybe lose a little bit of value while Zach Charbonnet ramps back up. But beginning of the season, middle of the season, I think there's enough value that he's going to deliver RB2 numbers, and I've got him inside my top 20 because of that.
Can I follow up on that just strategically speaking? Yeah. Because I feel like the quick narrative is to say that Price is going to be a sell high guy, right? Like, you can hear every fantasy analyst saying, well, you're just going to have to sell. You have to figure out when to sell.
Before Zach Charbonnet comes back.
Figure it out. But if everybody knows that, how effective is that strategy?
Great question. Probably not very effective. Yeah. And I honestly, with where this kid landed and the way that Seattle wants to run the football, with how often they ran the football last year, and they don't have Zach Charbonnet to do it with, it's going to be Jadarian Price and 2 dudes. And I say that more disparagingly than I mean, but it's just average guys. So I'm in. Yeah, I don't. Dudes is more of a positive.
Dudes
term.
feels like I got
just 2 guys.
Yeah.
You're right.
Dude,
but I am in on Jadarian Price because of that. So I'm interested to see. You've got him as running back 25.
25. Yeah,
okay.
25.
25 and 19 is not all that different, but
I think we're all on the RB2, depending on how your draft falls and the number of people in your league, RB3 flex area.
Yeah.
All right, so we do, by the way, we have rankings throughout the rest of the week. We're going to talk about why I think tiers are valuable. I have my tiers dropping. And another thing that I think we're going to try to key in on more during the preseason is not just ranking players by position, but also giving you context on the next player that we're going to talk about feels low in his positional rankings for me. I'm sure people will be like, that is way lower than most of your colleagues. That's correct. But relative to all other positions, it's still high enough that I can reinforce that I believe in the talent. So we're going to talk about not just where he fits amongst running backs, but where, if you're doing a Brock Bowers versus Justin Jefferson conversation, that's a really important one. If you're at the back end of the first round, or you're at the beginning of the second round, you're not getting Brock Bowers if you don't take him at pick. If you're in a 12-team league, if you don't take him at 13, you're not getting Brock Bowers at the end of the 3rd round. Yeah. These are important conversations for us to have that we will vet out over the next 5 weeks.
Well, we just dove into Jadarian Price after that. Let's talk about the other rookie running back that everyone's more excited about. Field, I was a little bit confused and we're not a football show. We're a fantasy show.
Yes.
I was a little confused from a football perspective, but I do want to know, Jeremiyah Love, what made him the number 3 overall pick by the Arizona Cardinals? What is it that he brings to the table?
Everything. There's really no hole in his game. He is like Bijan Robinson. We've had a couple of running backs in recent years that were categorized as like sort of can't miss top end prospects for their position.
Yep.
Bijan and also Ashton Jeanty. Jahmyr Gibbs has emerged as that, but Jahmyr was not being regarded in that same light when he came out of Alabama just a few years ago. Jeremiyah Love, think of him like Bijan Robinson, and more like Bijan Robinson than Ashton Jeanty. I think Ashton Jeanty can get to huge fantasy heights. I think it's more down like Jeanty, if he becomes a top 5 running back, is more in the Jonathan Taylor model, where it's like absolutely slay as a rusher and maybe add 30 to 40 catches. Both Jonathan Taylor and Ashton Jeanty are capable pass catchers. Their best value is just dominating as a runner. Jeremiyah Love can be like Bijan, in which he rushes for 1,000+ yards, but also snags 75 catches. I just have questions about how quickly it's going to happen in Arizona because have you guys seen this team?
Yes.
This team is, I want to say they're over at DraftKings Sportsbook, underdogs in like every game but one this upcoming year.
I believe the projected win total is 3.5.
Okay, so it's the lowest in the NFL. Like people are already, jersey swapping Dante Moore into Arizona uniforms for next year. Like it's going to be a bad year. The offensive line's fine. It's fine at best. I'm not like super optimistic about the offensive line. I don't think that this offense is going to be scoring a ton of touchdowns other than maybe in garbage time. And there are some good numbers to support top 10 running backs in their rookie seasons. Over the past 15 years, you've seen top 10 rookie running backs, top 10 picks, average 17.4 fantasy points per game. There have been some useful ones for sure. Like Saquon was unbelievable as a rookie. We've also seen a lot of just like pretty solid guys. Like examples, Ashton Jeanty, RB15 last year on a points per game basis. Bijan, RB17 as a rookie. Christian McCaffrey, RB13 as a rookie. So we've seen guys that have similar skill sets to him, Bijan and CMC. Those are like models for Jeremiyah Love, have just kind of average rookie seasons. I have him as RB14. I have him as the 25th player overall. So I still think he is deserving of being a top 3 round pick, and he'll be going much earlier than 25th overall. I'm just concerned about this being a hot mess offense.
Yeah.
I do think it's going to be a hot mess offense, but I also think that because of his pass catching skills in PPR-friendly formats, he can perform. He's my RB10, and it's interesting that you say like these are average performances. Ashton Jeanty, yes, 14 fantasy points per game is an average performance, also in the top 11 players at the position by the end of the season. The last 9 running backs drafted in the top 12 of the NFL draft all finished top 12 in fantasy points as a rookie. So 12-team league, you finish 12th, that's an RB1, especially with the disparity at the position right now. So RB10 for me, PPR-friendly format. I love it. Also, I love that you mentioned the skill set. 40 scrimmage touchdowns over his last 2 collegiate
Ridiculous.
Incredible.
Yeah.
The one thing that does give me maybe a little bit of hope about this offense is that Jacoby Brissett has shown garbage time. Like he's a garbage time king, right?
So he might be too much of one. Like they might have to play Carson Beck.
That's a possibility.
I guess if you're in garbage.
And new head coach Mike LaFleur, obviously also.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Record number of head coaching vacancies
And
heading in this
Nathaniel
season. So
Hackett
lots
as
of
well.
changes in that respect.
Last thing I want to mention is I should have mentioned this much sooner, is like they began their offseason signing Tyler Algier to a 2-year, $13 million contract.
Yes.
Buzz in camp as well.
Yes.
And I don't put too much stock into preseason depth charts. They're going to always put rookies low, but like I don't think Tyler Algier is going to just collect dust all year. If they're on the goal line, I think there's a really good chance that Tyler Algier is going to get first crack. James Conner, for now, is still on the roster. We'll see how that and Trey Benson's future shakes out. But it's not like Jeremiyah Love, part of the thought process behind Ashton Jeanty last year, which, to be clear, I was too optimistic on Ashton Jeanty, was like, that running back room stinks.
Yeah.
It's awful. Jeremiyah Love goes into a solid running back room. Like, I mean, it's a decent running back room at least. So I have some questions about the overall utilization. I have some questions about the offense, but I love the player. So I do have him as a top 25 player on the overall board.
All right. We had a coaching change, an offensive coordinator change, actually, in Los Angeles with the Chargers. Mike McDaniel comes over. A couple layers here that we can talk about with this one. And I want to start with Omarion Hampton because I think he's going to be the highest drafted Charger here. That hype train is rolling, it feels like, right now. Earlier this offseason, he was in the running back 12 to 13 range for a lot of us. Now he has moved up for a lot of ESPN rankers inside the top 10. And I am curious, Liz Loza, I want to start with you. When you look at Omarion and Hampton, has the hype train gone too far, or are you in on him being an RB1 for fantasy squads this year?
I do have him ranked as an RB1.
Okay.
We look at the offensive line. Both Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater cleared for practice,
Love having
back
them
in
back.
the game.
Huge.
O-line is healthy. Also, obviously, you mentioned McDaniel. McDaniel is fascinating to me because he is as innovative a play caller and as creative a run game genius as he is awkward public speaker.
Yes.
So those things can live at the same. All the things can be
Yes.
true at the same time. But we also have the addition of blocking tight end Charlie Kohler coming over. I believe now he's the highest paid blocking tight end in NFL history.
Wow.
So there's
Kid's
some
going to start blocking right now.
some clear indication of how he's going to be used, though, especially with that sort of investment. All of those things lead me to believe that Hampton, who last year coming out reminded me a lot of David Montgomery in terms of a skill set,
Like it.
could really perform when all of the pieces come together.
Yeah.
And he's hopefully going to stay healthy, unlike last year when he was hampered by that ankle issue.
Yep.
I feel like negative Nancy. I have him as RB13, so a little bit lower than Liz. There's one thing that I keep coming back to with Omarion Hampton. One thing. 2 years and $10 million, might have been 12, for Keaton Mitchell.
I knew you were going to say that.
This is like one of those signings I just can't let go of. And Mike McDaniel, teams are so good about behind-the-scenes content now. And Mike McDaniel has it's been made very clear. Like, the reason why Keaton Mitchell is a Charger is because Mike McDaniel wanted him. What does Mike McDaniel love more than anything in a player? Speed. Keaton Mitchell flat out flies. Hampton really can run, too, for a guy of his stature. He's a 4.44 guy at 220 pounds. He's a beast. But Keaton Mitchell is like different level of speed. I can't quite get that out of my cross. That's why I'm a little bit lower on Omarion.
Running back
Hampton.
13 there.
Running back 13.
Okay.
The player I'm most excited about in this offense.
Hold on,
Okay. No.
because I have him as running back 5.
Wow.
Whoa. Hold your
For what it's
horses.
worth.
Let's
Yeah.
go. I love it.
I got Omarion Hampton all the way up at RB5. 5 of his 9 games as a rookie, his healthy games, he was a top 20 running back. 3 of those games, he was a top 10 running back.
Ooh.
So in a third of his games as a rookie, he was a top 10 running
this
back.
is tasty.
Showed incredible pass catching ability, which is something that I really like as well. 4 of his games, he had 5 or more catches, which is great. Tons of ability within that pass catching ability. And you bring in Mike McDaniel and you give me all that goal line work. And I think this offense takes another step. I get Keaton Mitchell. I look at it, though, as a team mismanaging their salary cap. Then I'm worried about it being a
Okay.
Overspending in Los Angeles? Never.
I think that's the way that I look at it. So I am all in. I am very high on Omarion Hampton. Have him as RB5
I
right now.
freaking love that. By the
Yeah.
way, you have to sign a contract for at least $5 million to afford a 1-bedroom in Los Angeles.
That's
so
yeah,
that's
yeah. That,
the
that's
actual
excellent.
reason why.
But-
Yeah.
There's a lot of other parts.
Liz
field.
can speak to that much more than I can.
That's true.
Yeah.
Liz is renting out her second house for a little under $2.5 million a year. So
False.
no.
I'm not renting out anything. Do you
Oh.
think I know how to clean a gutter? To be a project manager?
I tried that
Do
this
you
offseason.
see me on a ladder, fixing things?
I tried that this offseason.
Okay.
Let's just say
that
that
sounds great.
DIY, not my strength.
A lot of other pieces, though. Justin Herbert, Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnston. How are you approaching this Chargers offense? No Keenan Allen.
Yeah, we'll see if that that could see a classic like end of training
Late
camp.
signing.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm still sorting through the wide receivers. Lad McConkey, clearly the number one
Yes.
amongst the guys we're at ranked right now. But again, the player that I'm most excited about is Justin Herbert. Tua Tagovailoa has become radioactive. He is in a battle to win I think he will win, but he's in a battle to become the Falcons starting quarterback. He was not good. The Dolphins took on the largest cap hit of dead money ever in the league to get rid of him.
And he's still in a battle.
He was freaking awesome for a couple of years there for fantasy purposes. He led the NFL in passing yards, did Tua for a full season. He had a lot of highs there with Mike McDaniel. Justin Herbert is a better thrower than Tua.
Yep.
He's a far better runner than Tua.
Yep.
And I think that the supporting cast is not as good, but the offensive coordinator is good enough that I've got Justin Herbert all the way up as quarterback 6. He's an excellent runner. I had 7 games last year in which Justin Herbert threw for at least 225 passing yards and ran for 30 or more yards. Now, some of that's scrambling, but still, it's a tool he's got at his disposal. I've got Herbert way up there as quarterback 6 ahead of the likes of Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Jackson Dart. So optimistic on Herbo this year.
Wow, love that. That must
Great
be
value
I was
also in
gonna
ADP.
say,
Yeah.
the ADP draft. If you've got him at 6, you could wait and get target
13th
him.
round.
Yeah, a bunch in
round,
drafts.
yeah.
We've talked about him a bunch too, Liz.
Quarterbacks are
I do want to
last
mention
year.
something about Lad McConkey really quickly, if we can.
Bring it.
Only because I'm sure that we all get asked all the time, like, who is this year's JSN going to be?
Yep.
right? And I am not all that because that was last year's surprise. So who's it going to be this year? Now, I don't think every year, obviously, we know can't copy and paste. But if you look at the circumstances that allowed for JSN's breakout, third-year player, vet gone, new play caller, heavily targeted since his rookie season. All of those apply to Ladd McConkey as well. Okay. So I do think he is an interesting breakout. And because he kind of slumped in his sophomore effort, there's a value there's a discount that you can get to him. So if you feel like throwing a dart, and it sounds like we're all high on the Chargers heading into this season because of the health of the offensive line, because of the offensive coordinator changes. So
I definitely would like a piece of this offense if I can get it. And
one we want to invest in that still is being discounted, maybe outside of Hampton because of last year's slump.
Yeah. All right, let's move and talk about DJ Moore being traded to the Bills. Chicago's offense is now adjusting, Liz. It looks like we got that trio, that Rome Odunze, Colston Loveland, and Luther Burden trio. As our resident Bears fan, can you just help us kind of like decipher what it is that we should be doing with these pass catchers in fantasy?
Well, you can decide if you want proven talent and a traditional alpha with Rome or a potential wildly efficient breakout candidate in Luther, or scrap that and just invest in the tight end, Colston Loveland out of Bliss, Idaho. I love this kid. I think I have him as my tight end 3 on the season. That is the place that I'm going. Now, you're going to have to pay up. If you don't want to draft a tight end early, then he's not for you because he's going around the 4th round.
Sure. So, Liz, good call there. I was going to say, so the headline is DJ Moore gets traded to Buffalo. We'll talk about the Buffalo side in a minute. But my biggest takeaway. For
fantasy, I think there's more takeaways for Chicago than.
Yeah.
Yes.
Colston Love is my guy this year. He's the one I'm walking away with the most in drafts right now.
Really?
Now, he's at tight end 3.
Same.
It's going to be hard to crack that top 2 tight ends.
Yes.
Brock Bowers and, of course, Trey McBride playing a different game right now. But this is why overall rankings are so important. If you go to an ESPN doesn't have an average of every one of our rankers, top 100 or top 150. But if you just go look across the board, and others, Mike and I think Carabell and Tristan have theirs up already. Colston Loveland, way higher in mine than other people. I think I have him like 34th overall right now.
Wow.
This guy's an absolute star. He looks like the next great tight end in the NFL. He was ridiculous for the Bears when he got the opportunities last year. This trade was a confidence boost to, or maybe a confidence shout out to him and Luther Burden III and Rome Odunze. I've got both of those guys in my top 30 for wide receivers, but my headline is Colston Loveland. Yes. That's my headline here. I'm all in on that player.
Also, if you cannot decide between the 2 wide receivers, you don't need to. And you also don't have to invest in Loveland. I just want to say this in terms of strategizing for the draft. Over the past decade, with the exception of Tyreek Hill, number 1 wide receivers who shared the field with tight ends averaging 15 or more fantasy points per game, all were pushed outside of the top 15 fantasy producers at the position.
So basically, it's hard to have an elite tight end and an elite wide receiver, unless you're Travis Kelce and Tyreek.
Exactly. If you think that Loveland is going to be elite, these 2 wide receivers are not for you.
Got to be discounted accordingly.
Ooh,
on the Bills side, do you like DJ Moore is an interesting one. I think he's a really good player, and he reunites with Joe Brady, where he played probably his best football.
I'm glad that you started this way because my question was basically,
but like,
do you think he's a premier wide receiver still?
I don't think he's a premier wide receiver. I also don't like Buffalo. Joe Brady talks all the time about everybody's got to eat.
Yeah.
You don't make this trade for him to just be an accessory, but I also don't like. I thought it was a really good return for Chicago. I thought a 2 for DJ Moore was surprising, candidly. So I have DJ Moore as wide receiver 27.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen's going to get his as a runner.
Yeah.
James Cook led the NFL in rushing last year. They got a lot of guys in that offense. In some ways, trading a 2nd-round pick for a guy making $28 million a year is like, oh my gosh, could this be like, could he step into a Devonta Smith type value? I'm not there yet. I still have him as wide receiver 27.
I also think the trade was more for Josh Allen to give him a surefire, vetted, reliable go-to receiver that you could trust, especially downfield, which was something Buffalo didn't have. So if you look at it in terms of trying to capitalize on this generational talent that you have at quarterback in the Super Bowl window at your avail, just give him someone reliable.
Yeah. Hopefully that will work out for everybody. He's pretty cheap right now if you want to go after DJ Moore. He's not, considerably expensive based on his ADP.
He'll draw 100 targets.
Exactly. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 in that offense. But I do think that his days of being a, low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 are behind him. It does feel like we're in a different spot.
Agreed.
All right. Before we move on, we want to take a couple of questions from chat. Shout out to our buddy Eric Moody. Make sure that you follow him at Eric N. Moody. He's answering all our questions, hanging out with the people. This first one comes from Chris S6270. A lot of running back handcuffs this year. Any specific ones to keep an eye on? Feels like a lot of backfields are going to be splitting carries to start the season.
Comment on guy.
Field. I'm with you on that.
Godwin guy. I know
Love
he's
Godwin
currently doing some sort of soft tissue thing right now in training camp. Not worried about it at all. Every couple of years, we have sort of a backup running back just overtake the starter during the middle of the season. The starter's not a bad player. It's just the backup is just that good. Kyle Monangai. That's my name. My favorite running back.
I mean, Ben Johnson, Wally pipped him once.
That's
Do it
right.
again.
That's right.
Yeah.
I really like Kenneth Gainwell. Really late as a value pick in PPR-friendly formats, coming off of a career season, replacing the Rashad White role in Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield loves to use the safety valve. I believe he targeted the running back position 8 or 9 most times for quarterbacks last season. So I think he's going to see a lot of volume there.
And I would have picked both of those two running backs, to be honest. I will say that, and you can call me a homer here, I think that if anything were to happen to Jahmyr Gibbs, Isaiah Pacheco would become a low-end startable running back in this Lions offense. I don't expect him to split time and be a David Montgomery the way that Demo was the last couple of years with Jahmyr. But if anything happens, heaven forbid, Jahmyr Gibbs has to miss time, I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to be a starting running back for those weeks that
One
Jahmyr
more,
will be
Blake
out.
Corum. I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can call him a handcuff anymore because I do.
That's
think
the thing.
he's
Is
right.
I'm with you, Liz.
But
yeah.
I think that's a RB2 in terms of second RB.
Yeah.
That is rising.
All right, we got one more question here. This next one from our chat comes from
Veronica.
We love Veronica.
Sweetheart.
Veronica Townsend.
Veronica.
How about Patrick Mahomes? Are we going for him or staying away? Is it Mahomes or the field for week 1? It seems like he's looking pretty good on recovery. I did see that Dan Graziano did a little sit down with Andy Reid, Fields Yates, talked about Mahomes' recovery, what their expectation is. Week 1 is not a guarantee, but that is what we're searching for.
It's a guarantee. Let's be.
I mean,
Think so? Okay.
You think the NFL is putting Monday Night Football in Denver, Colorado, with the Chiefs playing in the game if Mahomes is not expected to play?
You don't think Justin Fields is going to bring the zhuzh for week 1 if he needs it?
I believe Patrick Mahomes is. I don't know if you guys have heard this before, but like built different.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that
okay. Got it.
something?
Okay. Got it.
I have a more gelatinous form myself, so I would
I
say
am
he is
also
built
built
different,
different.
yes,
Yeah, that's-
than him.
that's
So,
fair.
yeah, he's playing week 1. Veronica, I have him as quarterback 8, I believe, and that's so much less a reflection of Mahomes, the real player, than it is the fantasy asset. The secret sauce for him last year was, of course, that he absolutely scrambled his life off.
Yes.
He ended up getting hurt on a scramble, by the way. Patrick Mahomes got hurt against the Broncos on a Thursday night football game many, many years ago. He ruptured his kneecap or dislocated his kneecap, and it was on a quarterback sneak. He has not quarterback sneaked since. The Chiefs are going to be smart about Patrick Mahomes around this year. Now, he can still throw the football very effectively. You can't totally reduce his rushing upside. He's going to just scramble naturally. I don't think he'll be running nearly as much, which is why he's quarterback 8 for me.
I'm not out on Patrick Mahomes, but I'm not really targeting him in drafts unless it is one of those things where it's like he's on the board and I'm like, ooh, this just feels like it's been too long and he should come off. I think there are at least some concerns with his return from injury. Another year for Travis Kelce. When is that going to potentially not happen anymore? Xavier Worthy hasn't taken a step. What happens if he still doesn't pay off? What happens if Rashee Rice gets into another situation and now he doesn't have all the guys? Like, there is enough there that I can be concerned for it. Yeah. But I still feel like Patrick Mahomes is Patrick freaking Mahomes. So, like, you know, he could be a QB1, but I'm not targeting him in draft.
Yeah, I agree. I have him QB 10. Here's the beauty. You don't have to, Veronica, draft Patrick Mahomes because the position is so stinking deep. And as Field already said, Justin Herbert is available much later. So you don't need to waste that early round capital on the brand name if you don't want to.
All right, let's keep it moving. We got a couple more topics we want to get to. Yeah, we're going to rip through this. Kyler Murray traded the Minnesota Vikings. We'll talk about Kyler in a second, but like where this really matters. Yes. I heard some dummy last year. I don't remember what network was talking about how he was. What was the phrase?
It was quarterback agnostic.
Quarterback agnostic. Yeah. I heard someone say that. Ridiculous.
It was Mike.
That's what it was.
Mike's gone. He's on a beach right now. We can blame him.
Justin Jefferson had 5 straight top 10 seasons and then finished as wide receiver 30 last year. What are you thinking about him? We already have a discount because all those years he was coming off the board as wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, maybe the number 1 wide receiver in the game. Now he's coming off the board right now. It looks like he's about wide receiver 7.
We're back, and I'll tell you why we're back.
Okay.
And this is not reporting. This is just me putting my logic hat on. So don't aggregate this. Happens a lot more in the NBA than the NFL. If the Vikings do not get Justin Jefferson back on track this year,
he's gone.
Justin Jefferson will be saying, trade me.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a guy who in his first 6 seasons has 4 with 1,400 or more receiving yards. Last year, he had 2 receiving touchdowns. Kyler Murray will get him on track. And Kyler Murray's wearing the job, by the way.
Did you see Liz's face when you said that?
I agree with you. This is the way it should be. But they have chosen a quarterback to give homework to, and this man don't like homework. Like, of all the quarterbacks to choose, you're going to give him a brand new playbook with this much on the line? I'm a little nervous.
Okay, they have to get it right.
They have to.
Yes, we agree.
Have to.
Imagine having to get this right, and Kyler Murray is the guy that you're like, that guy.
I mean, J.J. McCarthy's the other option, so...
Dude,
Sure.
huge indictment on your first-round pick to bring in a guy like Kyler
crazy.
Murray, by the way.
But I am in on Justin Jefferson. He is going to have a bounce back year. I'm telling you right now.
Bounce back, yes, from wide receiver, whatever.
Yes, to like,
from wide
but like
receiver 30,
to me, he's the
wide
rare.
receiver 5 for you?
He's the rare. I think he's wide receiver 5 right now. Wide receiver 4 for me right now. I got to check that. But good question.
Okay.
He is the very rare player going in the first like 10 or 12 picks, who also could be a steal. Right, like but going like
absolutely,
like he's a steal. Like I guess Amon-Ra's 4, so he's 5. We can't say that about most guys in the going 10th or 11th or 12th overall.
Nope.
But he could be the best player in fantasy football this year. He could be the best wide receiver in fantasy this year. 3 seasons with 100+ catches, 4 with 1,400+ receiving yards. Like Justin Jefferson winning the Triple Crown is possible. He's Justin Jefferson, capital J on both of those names. Do not let him down again this year, Minnesota. Because I'm not. Justin has never expressed anything other than great affinity for where he plays.
Quick, crazy
but there's
stat.
no way he would be happy if they have another crap season this year.
No, I would. And if I was just Justin Jefferson, I would want out to maximize my skill set while I have it before I don't, because this is a game where it disappears quickly. Crazy stat on a per game basis. Kyler Murray has been a top 12 quarterback every single season of his career except for last year. QB 11, QB 4, QB 4, QB 7, QB 9, QB 12, and then QB 19 last year.
Okay, but 30% of those fantasy points came from rushing,
yes,
not passing. We're
correct.
talking about getting the ball to Justin Jefferson.
Sorry, I was just pivoting ahead too.
Oh, okay.
Now, when you look at this, we've done a lot of mock draft stuff. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that are being drafted outside the top 15 that have had the chance to potentially be a top 5 guy. We've seen Kyler Murray be a top 5 guy twice.
Yeah.
Have either of you drafted him at all in our mock draft project throughout this offseason, Kyler Murray?
We did these like in succession last year.
Correct.
This year we're spreading them out. So my answer is probably yes, but not as a target.
Not someone that you were specifically targeting in the later rounds. Okay, just wanted to put that out there. All right, let's move ahead. Talk about the Denver Broncos as well, as long as you guys are good with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
All right.
Good.
Jaylen Waddle.
We are always good with moving on from the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, you and me both. Yes, I'm with you, girl. All right, Jaylen Waddle traded over to the Denver Broncos, guys. New weapon for Bo Nix. Waddle has been trying to recapture the first 2 seasons of his career for a minute. Yeah. His first 2 years in the NFL were unbelievable. A top 15 wide receiver both of those years, and then he was wide receiver 34, wide receiver 46, wide receiver 24 in Miami. Things just fell apart. Liz, now he gets to move on. He becomes what I believe is the wide receiver 1 in this Denver offense. I don't think it's Courtland Sutton.
Yes.
I think it's Jaylen Waddle.
I had a feeling.
So I want to know, how are you approaching Waddle in drafts this year? Are you more in on him being that guy that he was earlier in his career, or do you still have a little bit of nervousness as you go into the draft season?
My only nervousness is Sean Payton, who is sneaky like a fox, right?
That's
like we
fair.
can never really rely on him to rely on one person, though the fact that the team gave up a first, a third, and a fourth to obtain him does suggest a heavy investment, and I do think that Sean Payton can finally get his joker now, if you will. We can move all over the formation. We thought maybe Ingram would be that guy last year. Definitely wasn't. And for the first time in a long time, Waddle now has a complementary skill set on the other side. It's not duplicative, right? It's not him and Tyreek who are similar, and I do think that will help him. I have him as my wide receiver 19 right now, but I do think he has wide receiver 1, meaning inside the top 12 upside.
Well, I've got him exactly as wide receiver 19 as well. I don't have as much optimism. I guess that wasn't like crazy optimism. I'd be surprised by top 12 only because it's a fairly crowded room, right? Like Courtland Sutton got I think it was 4 years.
Got a bunch of money.
$1 million deal last year. This team has they spent a 3rd round pick on Pat Bryant. This is what Sean Payton does. He just keeps funneling assets into players. And I do think they want to run the football. They've got a great offensive line. Feels like a little bit of like an egalitarian approach amongst the pass catchers. I think he deserves to be right there in that top 20 of wide receivers. He's super talented. I love the fact that as a rookie, Jaylen Waddle was basically Jarvis Landry for Miami. It was everything was at or near the line of scrimmage because they couldn't throw the football down the field. And then he emerged as one of the best deep threats in the league. So he can do it all. I just am not quite as bullish on like top 10 or 12 upside, but top 20 is reasonable to me.
I think the upside could be that high, but I have him, I think, realistically drafted where you guys, or ranked where you guys do. I have him as wide receiver 20. The thing that makes me frustrated when I look at this kid, that rookie season was unbelievable. Even his second year was great. He's only topped 75 catches one time in his career. 75 is not a big number for a guy that's supposed to be a superstar wide receiver. He has never had a career target share, over 23.5%. He has never topped, not even 24, not 25. That's not an elite number. No. For your biggest season ever, for your target share to be 23.2%, that is not elite, period. So I wonder here in this offense with what they spent on him, but given all of the pieces that they have that you just mentioned, that's why I have him more as a wide receiver 20 than moving up into that like high-end wide receiver 2 range.
So a solid wide receiver 2 is
yeah. I think his talent and skill can be higher, but not with all the pieces that are going on.
And you're happy where he's being drafted as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What about Travis Etienne?
Hold on. Time out. Biggest story of the offseason, and you butchered it right away.
Travis Etienne.
How did you miss this one?
Dang it.
Guys,
you're right.
A very notable NFL player.
Huge story.
After 5 seasons in the league was like, you guys have been saying this wrong.
I've been saying my name wrong. Yeah.
His name is Travis Etienne, and we've been calling him Travis Etienne for like a decade because in college we called him Travis Etienne as well.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we were just calling you Daniil for the past decade?
No.
That's the French for when you go to Paris.
I'm
you
sure
go by
that
Daniil.
happens to Daniil Hunter because his name was spelled kind of like Danielle, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that definitely happened.
Have you seen Daniil Hunter though?
Not
I
very
would
many
never.
people would. I would not come at him.
I would just be like,
Mispronounce his name.
Mr. Sir,
Mr. Hunter,
Mr. Sir,
Yes.
whatever you want to be called works by me. The guy. So, apologies, I guess, to
Yes.
Travis Etienne for waiting this long or not knowing for all these years that this is how you pronounce it, but we won't mess it up going forward.
You did that on purpose, Daniel, so that Field could
That's
do
exactly
that. And
right.
Personally apologize as a team to Travis.
And to his brother Trevor as well. Trevor Etienne, the running back for the Panthers. But yes, he ends up with the Saints.
Yeah.
Thoughts on how this impacts the backfield here, Liz?
Dude has been awesome. I mean,
He
so
was
far
really
this
good
year-
last year.
He was revitalized by Liam Cohen, and Liam Cohen isn't in New Orleans, so that's a little problematic. Also,
Fair.
Alvin Kamara is coming back for
He's
his
back, yeah.
31st year. How do you say that? 31st year season?
Year
Age
31
31
Age 31 season.
Age 31. We
Yeah,
got there.
there you go.
Age 31 season. I do think that might take a little bit of a chunk out of
He'll shine off.
out of Achane's receiving work, but otherwise, I think he's a solid RB2. I'm not wildly excited, but he is expected to command the lead here, and I do like a Kellen Moore-led offense that is fairly up tempo.
I like the Saints this year. I like this offense. I like Tyler Shuck.
I like Tyler Shuck a lot.
I'm in on
Olave
him.
just got paid.
Yep, and Jordan Tyson. Like I think they're in a good spot where they could be an offense that surprises us this year. I think a couple years ago they started out super hot in a surprising way, and then like came back to earth the way that we all thought that they would.
Yeah,
I could see them being a legitimate offense that's going to contend in the NFC South this year.
Yeah, they're right there in that division. The wind was kind of taken out of the sails when that Alvin Kamara deal got done. Now, he's a franchise legend.
From a fantasy perspective, yes.
Yes, and obviously they want to keep him there. I don't know that he's a particularly effective player, but what's the point of keeping Alvin Kamara for $6.5 million if you're not going to use him at all? Like, I get loyalty, that part I respect, but like I don't think they're so loyal that they're like, here's $6.5 million to be a game day inactive. Like it would be more like $1 million to be a game. It would be the Devin Singletary restructure where it's like you're making the minimum with a chance through incentives to get some money back.
How do you feel about the other side of this? Are you in on Bashal Tutin being a guy that you need to target in drafts as an RB2?
I'm going to put this out there right now. The Jaguars' offense is probably the most confusing one to give ranks to.
Thank
at the
you,
moment.
Field. Thank you.
Yeah, it's tough all the way around. I thought maybe the most surprising contract of free agency amongst running backs was Chris Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I told you Chris Rodriguez just signed like a 1-year deal during the middle of OTAs for like sort of the minimum, I'd be like, oh yeah, that tracks. He got like 2 years and $13 million. It was like an incredibly specifically targeted move by the Jaguars.
That's more money than Keaton Mitchell got.
And yeah, that's right.
And Keaton Mitchell's healthy.
And that's true.
And Chris Rodriguez has a history with Liam Cohen. They were together at Kentucky back when Liam Cohen was the OC there. So this was a Liam Cohen move for sure. I don't think this is like fully handing the reins to Bashal Tutin, but Tutin's way more explosive. He's going to have a lot of big play upside. He's going to catch the ball more effectively than Rodriguez. So I have him as RB22. I'm more optimistic on him than any other Jags back.
I have him on the RB2, RB3 bubble there. I
Tutin,
think that
you mean,
makes
or Rodriguez?
Tutin, not Rodriguez.
Great
Rodriguez, by
name,
the way,
by
is
the
still
way.
dealing with this foot injury. So Tutin has been absorbing all of the first team reps, and that's giving him more familiarity. I think what's head scratching is that Tootin played against type last season, right? He profiles as more of a space guy, but was the short yardage option as playing behind Eteinne last season. So I think he's going to have to grow and stretch a little bit here, but I do like Tootin, especially where he's being drafted, because there are some question marks and concerns as an RB2.
Yeah, not a high price tag right now in fantasy draft, so it's not a bad spot.
Like the next month will be really helpful. Call it 25 days because we want people to draft
before. Yeah,
we got some time actually. The next month will be really influential in like finalizing my thoughts. Like all the receivers in Jacksonville kind of confusing. The backfield not as confusing, but you could kind of talk yourself into a few different outcomes there. But this is a good problem. Like this team is very talented, and Trevor Lawrence, incredible value right now.
It all works for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. Speaking of, help me figure out what it is that I need to know as, again, from a draft perspective. Carnell Tate. Last year, the Titans went out, grabbed their quarterback, Cam Ward. This year, they gave him a premier pass catcher. Yeah. Is this one of those situations, Field, where like we can trust this rookie right away in this offense and fantasy? Or
I'm optimistic. I've got him as wide receiver 22, which is the highest amongst our ESPN rankers right now. Consensus rank is wide receiver 28. So get people that have him in the 30-ish range. I'm up at 22. Like the player a lot. I thought he perhaps got mislabeled during the pre-draft process. He went 4th overall, and there are people, and I think I said this at times too, they're like, I don't know that he's ever going to be like a dominant number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. But if he were, I probably would have him at like wide receiver 15 or 16 as opposed to wide receiver 22. Total pro, like a professional wide receiver before he even entered the NFL. Wouldn't surprise me, and this is not just an Ohio State thing, if he has like a little bit of the Emeka Egbuka trajectory here, which is like Egbuka, I had him as maybe like the 30th player, my 32 on my final big board. He ends up going 19 or 20 or something like that in the draft. And he ended up having this really, really solid run last year for Tampa. And the system, the situation, the performance, like all kind of meshed at the right time. I'm optimistic on Cam Ward. I'm optimistic on Carnell Tate. I think this guy is going to be legit enough. I was going to say the truth, but the truth to be higher than wide receiver 22. Wide receiver 22, legit. I am happy about the landing spot here for Carnell Tate. They got a block in Tennessee, but otherwise, I think this team's going to be okay offensively.
I think what you're also saying is that his transition to the pros should be very smooth given his polished skill set and his pro readiness. Also, I also like him. Chicago kid, so a little bit biased. Second easiest strength of schedule for the position in Tennessee. So that's a nice extra little something to know.
Yeah, I would expect, too, the Titans to be throwing the ball a lot as they try to figure out their offense and find some wins.
They're going to be good on defense, though, man. That front 4 is ridiculous. The front 7's good. I like Tennessee. They real question marks about the offensive line. I think this team's going to make a leap forward. And Cam Ward, who we'll talk about quarterback rankings soon, so I'm not like, oh, my God, Cam Ward's a top 12 option. But 10 touchdowns, 1 pick following the bye last year. So he, amidst really poor circumstances, became a decidedly improved player on the fly.
Speaking of, go ahead.
I was just going to say also should be buoyed by the addition of Wan'Dale Robinson, who's reuniting with Brian Dable and a fantastic PPR value.
God, he's
holding it. He's not going to see 140 targets like he did last year, but he will hold it down in the slot.
He will. He certainly will. Yeah.
Speaking of bad situations, the entire Las Vegas Raiders team last year was bad.
Really bad. Should we end it here with the Raiders and their offensive haul this offseason?
I think so. Let's finish it out with that because I'm hoping that we can get something different here because we got Ashton Jeanty.
Yep.
Ashton Jeanty let people down, but wasn't as disappointing as it may have felt.
Yeah. Perfectly
That's
stated.
the thing that you have to realize. Still a very good running back. We love Brock Bowers. And now you're going to get Fernando Mendoza. Who's going to start here at quarterback?
I think Kirk Cousins will start week 1, but, Drake May sat on the bench to begin his season. Then it was like, oh, yeah, this is definitely not the right play. We'll switch him out after 4 or 5 games. So I think we'll be on that plan for Fernando Mendoza. The quarterback play, I think, will be steadier this year overall. They are healthier amongst the pass catchers, specifically Brock Bowers. It's a way better system.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an improved offensive line with Tyler Linderbaum.
They paid a boatload.
They sure did. But the reason why I still have Jeanty as RB12 and not as like RB6, which he's going to be ranked really high for some people. It's an improved offensive line. It's a much better system. I don't know that it's like a quantum leap better situation yet, though. Like the offensive line is still a major work in progress.
Wow. Okay.
Still a major work in progress. And so, as we know, last year it was basically Ashton Jeanty creating all the yards for himself. Nearly 2/3 of his yards rushing came after contact. The guy
He did all the work.
it was amazing.
Yes.
And that Houston Texans game late in the season was one for the ages from Ashton Genty. But I really like the player, obviously. Still optimistic, but not as in as some of my colleagues.
I have him inside my top 10. I mean, despite averaging, 3.7 yards per carry? That's right. He was the RB5 and in evaded tackles per touch, which alludes to Fields' point about just him creating after contact when he was able to, get past the first level. So I really do. I have him actually as my RB7. I'm a little more optimistic.
there we go.
I'm optimistic
I like this.
because of the talent.
Yeah.
And, maybe it's a bit of a talent crush, but I also was really high on him last year. So
Talent and Clint Kubiak coming over, I think that's in part going to help unlock what it is that he can be, hopefully add more as a pass catcher.
Are you closer to Liz or me? Or are you in the middle?
I am exactly where Liz is. I have him at 7.
Okay.
Yep.
Remember, if everybody thinks alike, no one is thinking.
That's right.
Okay, so-
I was just looking at your running back rankings to see you had in front of him. I can't argue with any of these. Also, it's too early to argue.
No, it's never too early to argue.
I mean, you're right. It's too
I
early
argue with the baby at 1:30 to go back to sleep this morning. Go back to bed.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Do you get a lot of fantasy thoughts in while you're doing that, or are you just sort of like in a fever dream in the middle of the night? Like, do you?
It's usually about a 30-minute process to feed a child, right?
It's like in the
Feed,
fugue
burp.
state.
It's like you just like all kinds of stuff goes through your head.
Yeah.
that's when AI Field
That's
really
right.
comes to
He's
life.
locking in.
Diapers, Ashton Genty, evaded tackles per touch.
Yeah, where's the?
Shout out rocking chairs. Had not a lot of use for them until I became a dad.
Wow.
Shout out rocking chairs.
Now they're awesome.
That's not
Very
a thing that
useful.
young, cool people say usually.
Well, Daniel, I'm no longer young. I was never cool. So that's what I talk about these days.
Yeah, right.
Tender age of 39.
Hey, this has been fun. What a
So
great
good to
first
be
day
back.
back, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with Liz. Thank you for being here. When Mike decided not to show up, we can always count on you. We appreciate it. Field, always great to be able to see you. And we are pumped to be back tomorrow. Shout out to our buddy, Eric Moody. Follow him on social media at Eric and Moody, hanging out in the chat as he always does. We're going to be back tomorrow, 12-team PPR mock draft. They're one of our favorite shows to do. Make sure you come and hang out with us. That's going to do it for us today. Don't forget to love each other and be kind to yourself. You guys, you deserve it. We love you. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Fantasy, you're in the whole 6010. Focus. Fantasy, fantasy focus. Fantasy, you're in the whole 6010.